welcome to episode 11 of Ring Talk with Goodwin Boxing, and as always we've got Steve Goodwin with us. We're going to have a look back at the weekend's action from York Hall. A very, very busy card this weekend, same venue, a few listeners' questions, hopefully keep it fairly short and snappy for you this week. So we'll look back then, Saturday night, York Hall. Firstly, like, what a crowd. It was...
Wasn't it an unbelievable event? I said to... because we signed two new fighters today, to be fair.
Right.
Really good kids.
On the back of that.
No, they were coming anyway. So we got some more people coming in. So as usual, we're very busy signing fighters, which is great. But they went there and they just said that if you looked on paper, you would have thought it would be an okay event.
Yeah.
But the atmosphere was so electric. It was just an amazing event, the whole event. And I think that's helped by what we do behind the scenes, apart from the boxing. I think the whole visual, audio, the way we, the music and everything, and the fighters, and everybody gets in the spirit, and I think they go that extra mile, and I think it was really...
I actually, I took my brother-in-law down on Saturday night, as you saw, and our kids, and he's a fairly casual fan and only really kind of looks at Anthony Joshua fights and such like, and he didn't really notice the difference between how it'd look at an Anthony Joshua fight, saying how it looked in there, kind of scaled down with the screens. And I was trying to explain to him, you won't see this at every small hall of, like, you're being treated tonight. Yeah. You won't see it at every small hall event. If you came to another one, another time, you'll see the fighters walking around the side and it's less fanfare. And so I think that does add to what's there.
And everybody played a part, and the fighters, played a great part in the fights, and there were some really good highlights on it, and it just was a great night, and I hope it'll be the same on Saturday.
Yeah, I need to give my thanks to Leon McKenzie as well, who sat and entertained our kids and told them about being a Premier League footballer and ran through some stories. He was brilliant with them.
Great guy,
helped keep them entertained for the evening. So the highlights from Saturday night. So Wadi Camacho retained the Cruiserweight Southern Area title against Jose Lopes.
Obviously I never... as you know with me, I like to say it as it is. I manage both fighters, so I don't really feel it's appropriate for me to analyse that fight. That's for me to talk to both fighters individually about it. I think really I'll pass that one over to you.
Oh, thank you. From my perspective, Jose wasn't aggressive enough through the fight. Wadi controlled the tempo. He was the more aggressive fighter. I think Jose got into too many defensive patterns too easily against the ropes. He was backing off too much. I thought Wadi won it personally by 3, maybe 4 rounds. I'm not sure whether the referee deemed it a knockdown when Camacho...
He gave it as a 10.
Okay. So maybe 3 rounds. I had it to Camacho. I think the people I've spoken to had it fairly similar. But I thought Camacho... I actually thought it was one of his better performances as well, better than the Jervier performance. I think it was probably one of his best of this year, because he's quite an active fighter as well, isn't he? So you see him out fairly often. But to me, it was a fairly relatively clear Camacho victory. To me, then you had Jordan Joseph, who went and defeated Darrel Church in his area eliminator.
Again, I manage both fighters there. I think it's very clear. I mean, there's nothing really to comment on. I mean, Jordan was a bit too strong for Darrel. I mean, Darrel's only been with his new trainer for 6-7 weeks. And I thought Jordan showed that he had the experience of 10-round fighting from when he fought Chris Hobbs. I think he learned massive lessons from that fight with Chris Hobbs, and I think he carried that through. And I was really impressed with Jordan. I think in a matter of time he could do very, very well in the light heavyweight division.
Yeah, that different Jordan Joseph, do you think, than what we saw against Chris Hobbs?
Yeah, because I was honest as I am with all fighters. I thought he lost to Chris Hobbs. I thought he lost quite clearly to Chris Hobbs, despite what. Don Charles, the trainer, didn't agree with me, but that's how it goes. And I thought he lost because when he had Chris in trouble, he backed off. And I spoke to Jordan and his dad about that many times since. And I said, I don't want you to, because your trainer thought you won, go away and think that was okay. It wasn't okay. It wasn't an okay performance. But this time I went up to his dad and his mum after the fight and said, that's what you should have done.
And you're quite close with his mum and dad as well,
aren't you? For 30 years. So the fact I went to Jordan's christening when he was about 3 years old. So we go back a long way. But they all know that I say it as I see it. But I did, the first thing I went up to him, I said, that is exactly what we wanted to see. And that is, if he did that against Chris Hobbs, he would have won that fight. But he learned from that defeat. He learned, and that's all you can ask for, because he's slowly building up, and I'm really happy for him that he's building towards the title. I mean, he wants for Anthony Yard.
Yeah.
Well, Yard doesn't want to relinquish, does he?
Yeah.
Jordan Joseph's there ready and available, so Anthony Ard can have a fight if he wants, and if he doesn't want to retain the Southern area, which I'm sure he doesn't really, he can just hopefully move on and let people fight for the title rather than sit there, cling on to a belt that you don't want to defend.
Yep.
So, which I think is a sad indictment of behaviour towards other professional boxers.
I agree entirely. I think if you're ranked at number 6 or whatever mythical number it is in the WBO, then there's no reason to be hanging around.
Do you think that's really bad other boxers who are all trying to make their way in the game and get lifted on, and you just won't relinquish it and try to block anybody for fighting for it? I think it's absolutely shocking.
No, I agree. Prince Brady showed how to have an exciting...
Well, he went down. He was knocked down in about 10 seconds, wasn't he? But he came up against Eddie Bjorkland. What a fight that was. Second fight on. It was a cracker. I think it set the tone for the evening.
I actually missed it, but as I was coming through the door, someone said, "Oh, did you see the Prince Brady fight?" I was like, "No."
Oh, it was amazing.
I need to get the footage.
It was just, we can get the footage. It was electric the whole way through. And no, it was a brilliant fight. And to be fair to him, it was his debut. And I thought he came back really, really well after that shock. So full credit to him for coming back. And I thought Eddie Bjorkland put on a brilliant fight. You know, and I think two of them deserve massive credit. Yeah. A great fight.
So we're going to cut to a few of the highlights now. So there's the Jordan Joseph highlights.
We'll show the Jordan Joseph first. We'll watch them, and they're going to show a bit of that. And I think you can see from this footage of Jordan the actual the more aggressive stance he took in this fight. So let's have a look at that.
Yeah. Another one was Jez Smith, who, although he's not your fighter, was still on the card, and
he's had a boost fighter. I mean, I've watched Jez a few occasions on television when he's on Box Nation, and I thought he's a good fighter, but I wasn't overly impressed. But I've got to say, the way he dealt with Nathan Hardy, I was very impressed.
And Nathan Hardy was very impressive as well.
He said that apart from Lewis Ritson, it was the best fight he's ever faced.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a look at that as well.
Yep. One other fighter who was making his debut was Zaxo, who, when I was on my way out the door, because I had the kids with me, it was getting late, we had to get home, I saw a guy, Darren Parsons, who is very supportive of yourselves, and he said, "Oh, Dan Zaxo's on in a minute." He said, "I've heard he punches like a mule." And so, then I heard out the next day that Dan Zaxo finished the fight in
40-50 seconds?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about him was, it's actually his first time in the ring. He hasn't boxed amateur. And I actually thought he looks really good.
Right.
And I think he could be a little jewel in the crown. But not only that, he wasn't going to fight till... The behind the scenes things, he wasn't fighting till March because his trainer Barry O'Connell said he's nowhere near ready. And they made a decision 2.5 to 3 weeks before the fight. Oh, let's get him out.
Just to go.
Just to go. And now the thing is, not only did he perform a performance like that, he shifted hundreds of tickets in 2.5 weeks. The support for him was amazing. It was electrifying.
Yeah.
He put on a brilliant performance, and I'm sure that he'll sell out half of York in one hit when he fights next time. You know, an unbelievable performance. Considering when you watch this in a minute, this fight, remember this guy has never had a fight. So, and the guy he's fighting, Justin Johnson, he's not ever been handled like this before. So.
Yeah, so we're not going to take a look at the highlights, we're going to take a look at the entire fight, all 40 seconds of it, and then you can judge for yourselves whether you're going to come buy a ticket to him next time, because by the sounds of it, it was an impressive performance. And yeah, there were a few other fights that went on that were good performances. There's probably too many to run through in total, and it's not to single anyone out in particular. They're just the fights we've taken a look over. So going forward onto this Saturday, I mean, talking about not being able to single out certain fighters, you've got 20 fights going on. Yeah,
Ryan's done a good job holding the 20 fights together. Ryan Smith's first promotion, who's working alongside us. 20 fights on, starts 4:15. It's going to be a long night. It's going to be an exciting night. There's some brilliant fights on there. So get along, come down for the last Goodwin associated show of 2017. So it's going to be a cracking night on Saturday.
And so the one that I think most people are probably looking forward to out of it is K Prosper.
Yeah, against the KO King.
I've seen a few words exchanged between them, and
Patco thinks that K Prosper's a bum. K Prosper, he's knocked 4 opponents out in 1 round. He reckons K Prosper's not getting to 2 minutes. K Prosper's going to say he's going to come out and show him what power is. So we're going to have 2 fighters meeting in the middle of the ring and throwing bombs. So if you're coming Saturday, watch that fight. Make sure you watch it.
Yeah, so I mean, this guy either wins in 1 round or loses, doesn't he? It doesn't seem like
he's only actually lost 1 fight.
Yeah, I'd say he's won every other one. But
that was on points when he had a severe flu and he promised to do it and he couldn't really fight properly, but he went through with the fight. And that was the only time he lost. But apart from that, he's obliterated everybody around. and they're not just standing. He knocks them cold.
Right.
Knocks them out cold.
Okay, so keep an eye on that one for Saturday night.
Yeah.
There's a handful of debutants, a few more kind of lads moving up the ladder and through their careers.
There's too many to go through, but come down Saturday, you'll have an absolutely amazing value for money night. 4:15 you'll call, just come down. It'll be a brilliant night.
Yeah, I'll say, I mean, in terms of value for money, having 20 fights on there, probably going to go on for, 6-7 hours maybe. Come down for the beginning, for the end, for the middle. There's going to be plenty of action for all of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Alternatively, which I'll be doing.
Yeah.
Typing up, and my fingers will be ruined by the end of it.
Exactly.
But, I look forward to it. So that's kind of it from looking forward to Saturday. We're going to run through some of the questions.
Hopefully next week we'll be running through some of the things for 2018 as well. So there's loads to talk about. So make sure you tune in next week. Yeah.
So if we start off with LTFC dumps. He sent in 2. I'm planning on taking the missus away in the spring for the weekend. What are your plans for Linus Udofia so I don't end up upsetting her and letting her down?
I'm probably going to get Linus out in February. That's the plan. I think he'll be out in February. But he'll be having a build-up fight in February. And then I'll probably try and get him out again in June.
By which point he'll be 8-0 if he...
Yeah, and then I think we then have a look there, and that's the point upon which we look at titles.
You pull the trigger on...
Yeah, we'll pull the trigger. We'll pull the trigger for him next year. There's plenty of people that we think we can pull the trigger and beat, so we'll just do that. But we want to build up his profile. and give him some decent exposure, which we're going to be working on in 18. So it'll be February. All things being planned, it's going to be February, then end of May probably for Lions.
There you go, Dump. So keep February free, end of May. Is that another question? Also, what do you think to Kay Prosper's chances this weekend, and what is the plan for one of the nicest blokes in boxing?
Well, Kay's, hopefully we think he's going to win, but obviously he's got to avoid the big bombs, so come and watch. But really after that, we'll go, presuming it goes to plan and he wins and looks impressive, because it's not just about winning, he's got to look impressive in winning. Then we're going to sit down and try and make a really good big fight for him in March time.
I think you said before about CRL school, don't really know what's going on there with the
so we need to move to onto the English route. But there were plenty of fights. I want him in an English final eliminator, British eliminator, English eliminator, at very least in March.
Yeah. Question from Yestin. You're probably going to rip me again for getting that wrong, but I apologise, my Welsh is terrible. As a manager, are you worried about the number of signings that MTK have signed in recent years?
No.
I think you have a stable that is self-sufficient.
One of the golden rules in this world, it's a golden rule I have, not just in boxing, but a world, just worry about what you do. Too many people, and there's an analogy I was given by somebody who's quite well known in boxing, and it's about 2 years ago. And he said, people in boxing are like swimmers. You've heard this one?
No.
Right. People in boxing are like swimmers. Now, what we do is we're going to swim a length, right? And we're going to try and swim that length as fast as we possibly can to get to that end of the pool as fast as we can. Most other people spend all the time trying to drown each other. And then by the time they get to the pool, we're there first. So, congratulations to MTK for what they're doing. Great for boxing that more people are in it. But we just worry about what we're doing, and we feel we're building a great brand, a great product, an honest product with the boxers, and we're getting exposure for them. And what everybody else does, good luck to them, and may they will do very well. Yeah,
and you've got a number of key relationships with other, the ones with the bigger platforms that you're...
Oh, we're delighted with the way things are going, and, good luck to everybody else.
Excellent. Paul Oldtie, thank you again, as always, Paul, for your contribution.
He's coming Saturday.
Is he?
Because he got 2 free tickets for Saturday.
Oh, that's right, it's Saturday.
Yeah.
Excellent. Come say hello, Paul, as well. After how many fights does Steve not consider a fighter a prospect? And who out of his stable are hot prospects for 2018? So at what point are they past the prospect stage, I think?
It varies. I think it depends on the amateur pedigree. I think it depends. If you take, say, an A.D. Burden, who is 5-0, right? A.D. Burden did not have that much experience before he came into the pro ranks, and he's 22.
Yeah.
Linus Udofia is 6-0. He won 38 out of 40 amateurs, and he's nearly ready to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
A.D. Burden will probably be a prospect for the next 18 months. Linus Udofia will probably pull the trigger next year.
Yeah.
So the point is, every single fighter is different. So I don't think you can put numbers. I don't think you can put numbers of fights, and you have to assess how they're performing as well. And there are other fighters I've got. It doesn't matter who I'm going to say, who had good amateur pedigree, who haven't really done as well as I'd like to see as a pro. So they're going to remain a prospect much longer until they show what they've got. As far as prospects of 2018. I've got over 100 fighters. It's not appropriate. I'm going to pass that to Martin. He can give his own opinion on that.
I always rate Brad Paul's, Linus Udofia in the super middleweight area. I think they're two cracking prospects. Nice young lads as well. Really enjoy watching them. Yusuf Kamari, I think, was fantastic through his opening kind of phase of his career. I think he'll go on to do good things down the line. I think that's, there are plenty of others I could mention. I'll keep it fairly short for the purpose of that. But those three in particular always kind of stand out to me as being the highlights.
Okay.
Ben Blackwell, as a successful promoter on the small hall scene, do you feel with the ever-increasing number of many high-key events becoming more unaffordable to the average man in the street, do you feel that more and more people are deciding to support the smaller hall scene or not? So I think what he's referring to is, like Groves Eubank went on sale today, and within half an hour the tickets end up on StubHub. We've discussed that before. So those kind of pricing schemes that end up on StubHub price out the average fan and turn a £60 ticket into a £160 ticket.
Which we covered last, which we said, don't buy these tickets, but you keep doing it. But the touts have bought them today, haven't they?
Yeah. So do you think that it's a matter then of people look at £160 for a £60 ticket and go, nah, screw that, I'm going to go and support the local scene?
No, because most small hall shows are rubbish.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go and watch them.
No.
There's some small hall shows. I'm going to sort of mention a promoter because I think I do think one stands out, and that's Steffi Ball up in Doncaster. I think he puts on brilliant shows.
Maxie Hughes and Danny Connor at the weekend.
And I would pay to go and watch that because he puts on proper shows. And an event. Now we put on an event for people, which is just not even just the boxing, and we put on a whole event, and people are coming in their droves to watch our shows. However, that is not always the case, and I think some of these, when you go there, the events are bad, the sound system's crap, the fights are terrible, there's no vibe.
And outside of the friends and family of the 10 people or whatever that may be fighting, there's nothing really, there's a boxing fan that you're going to buy into.
Correct, so I don't think that's the case. You've got to do things like we do, and Steffi Ball does, in generating this whole vibe. And that's really, really important. And also, I think another kind of similarity between yourself and Steffi is that you nurture younger fighters through and give them the exposure and a journey and a route that people can relate to and people can buy into. Mm-hmm. You don't necessarily see that elsewhere, where you may see fighters coming in, going out, but you can pick fighters and follow their careers through with yourselves. And I say similarly with Steffi, with the likes of Maxie Hughes, Lewis Ritson, who he brought through his own kind of scene as well. Yes, exactly. So it's all the whole thing is and I'm not saying he's not the only one, by the way, I'm just picking one as an example. So there are some and some you just think, oh my god, that's terrible. Okay, Mikey at Analyse Boxing. Mikey, I know, is a massive Wadi Camacho fan, supports him in each of his fights. What do you see Wadi achieving in 2018? He's dealt with Southern Area level fighters very well, but the leap to English title is still quite big. Is it a case of taking the big opportunities when they come? Yes. Yeah. Because what's happened in Wadi's career, he just dominates the Southern Area. The only time he lost was Isaac Chamberlain, which was a bit contentious, but I think we park that fight. But when he stepped up to the Arthur Iqbals of the world, he was found that he was below that level. At that time, in that time, at that fight. And it's not as if he can go back and try and redress that. I think Wadi fought the wrong fight against Arthur, and I'm being fair, but he often does fight the wrong fight when he steps up a level. So I think really for Wadi now, he's got a mandatory against Danny Cousins. He may well defend against Danny, that's a possibility. But he's also got a situation where if a bigger option comes, then we may take that instead. I think Wadi always holds that name value, so you could end up with a promoter that's got a cruiserweight that's going for, I don't know, an international or silver title, that Wadi would be an ideal fit to almost go into that, and he's always going to be a challenge for somebody. He may or may not win, but he's not afraid to take the fights, and he's always going to be a challenge to somebody. But now you see, at 32 years of age, if we're going to take a fight like that, it's got to be a fight that's financially worthwhile. There's no point taking a fight like that for a fight anymore. So, we're going to be looking at all the options. He could defend against Danny Cousins. That's possible. I know Danny wants the rematch. Danny was down there on Saturday as well. Was there on Saturday. So that's possible. But again, if there's another bigger fight on the horizon, you may take that instead. Yeah. I was looking into this. Someone find out for me, because I couldn't find the answer. Has Wadi got the most area level title defences ever? I found there was a welterweight that I think in the mid-90s who'd made 4 defences. How many has he done now? He's got 4, one of which was a loss to Chamberlain, but it was still a defence of the title. I think he's had 6 fights for it, 4 defences. So he is like the Southern Area king, isn't he? Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. I like that about him, that he respects the belt, that he's happy enough to keep hold of it and defend it. I want to find out if there's anyone who's had more than 4 defences of an area level title. Someone find out for me. Let me know. James Lupton at round 8. What fights would you like to make in 2018 for your fighters? He's singled out Linus Udofia, Dino Richardson, who's one that I should have picked out earlier as well, because he's a brilliantly exciting welterweight prospect that I enjoy watching. Brad Pauls, etc. Who, if anyone, is on course for titles next year? So we'll start with the first bit. What fights would you like to make for Linus, Dino and Brad? Well, they're really hard because you're asking about my prospects. Ask me about people that are there. I think the answer to that is learning fights. Learning fights, basically both. I think Brad, Linus, definitely for titles next year. Dino, possibly for titles at the end of the year, but he's so young and it's a very tough division. I don't want to put him into just Wajit next year. I think we can really build into something special. Josh Warrington had 13, 14 before he's thrown in. Yeah. And I think you've got to remember that. Look at Zelfa Barrett. Yeah, we're talking about kids that have 5, 6 fights. I don't want to put them in. I mean, the right way. What they're doing with Zelfa Barra, perfect. What they did with Josh Warrington, perfect. They've just got to be patient. Let's deliver them at the right time.
Or Dino Richardson versus Conor Benn for the Southern Area title.
We take that tomorrow, but that's never going to happen. They're never going to take that. They won't take. They're just some of these TV fighters. Do you know they won't take? And I'll say this online. They will not take Joe Cordino against Germani Camiro.
Yeah.
Now that has got to be some sort of joke.
Yeah.
They want somebody. They want some. They don't. They think Germani Camiro is obviously too dangerous for Joe Cordino.
And he is. He is.
But it's ridiculous, right?
I know. That should be the perfect fight for Joe Cordino to test himself at that level.
Ridiculous. Southern Area champion against the Olympian. But it doesn't appear that the management of Joe Cordino want that fight, because remember we had that fight before he got pulled for 2 days before, and I had a call from Matchroom saying we're looking for an opponent over 8 rounds for Joe Cordino. I've got the man. It's Germani Camiro.
You've had him already. Second half of it, who, if anyone, do you think is on course for titles next year?
Right, what level titles? We've got loads heading towards some areas. You've got like the Dwayne Sinclairs, you've got people like that light heavyweight that are going to be heading towards titles.
Dwayne, who's constantly improving every time I see him.
And I think he's definitely going to hit the Southern Area. Jordan Joseph is going to hit the Southern Area level next year, no doubt. If you want to go through we can go through the weights. I mean, you've got so many. Mark Little by the end of next year, I expect him to be hitting the Southern Area title. I expect him to win it once. I mean,
we've got a question about him after this.
And I can go through the weights. I've got so many. Kay Prosper, Michael Devine. These people I expect to see fighting for major titles. Mal Shinkwin's fighting Jake Paul.
Yeah.
We've got Joel McIntyre will come back into the fray and go for the big titles. We've got so many fighters ready to go for titles next year. We're just building them, and then we're going to explode on it again and get loads more titles again next year.
Excellent. That means you can make one of those graphics again where you lay all the belts out.
We've got plenty as it is. We've still got plenty of titles, but I think we're going to even have it bigger next year.
Expand the graphics.
Yeah.
Final question, which is about Mark Little, from Jason Burchett. Can you ask what the plans for Mark Little are next year? He's one hell of a boxer. A small injury at the moment, but he'll be back massive in 2018. Very good, solid man who speaks well of his coach Cookie and his promoters.
It's basically the same again.
Yeah.
He's in his development stage. It's much easier for me to ask about Michael Devine, Kay Prosper, who are their titles, and Mal Shinkwin, Jordan Josephs. These are fighters that I've got to produce them and deliver them at the right moment. Timing is key.
Yeah. I think with Mark Little, that fight he had against that giant stick insect down at Brentford,
Titus,
that's a hell of a fight for him, because that's the most awkward. What was he, about 6'9", 6'10" maybe? That's a hell of a given Mark's quite a small cruiserweight as well, but stocky to go with it. That's a hell of a learning fight for him to come through that. And the way he was ripping in those body shots was great, and he evolved through that fight to learn, and you could see in the second half of it apply what he'd learned in the first half, which I think that's a great testament to how well Mark gets trained by Paul Cook.
But fights we won. Mark is still developing him, so it's really unfair. He's only done 6 rounds, so you don't actually. I can't say he's going to fight for a title here, because it depends who holds it. If somebody asked me 12 months ago, would Germani Camiro be Southern Area champion? I thought you were ridiculous. However, the opportunity came, we took it, so therefore we moved. Timing is key, and that's why we don't set certain months for those sort of titles. You've got to see who's holding it, whether we wait, whether we go somewhere, we go another way. Fight I want to see is Arthur Nick Bell against Luke Watkins. I've tried to make that, but it's not.
For the Commonwealth.
Anything. We tried to that, offered good money. We want that. We also would quite like Arfan Iqbal Matiaskin for the British. That will do nicely. So in the cruiserweight division, Arfan is the one that's going to progress. But that's a great fight for him against Vallili, and that's no foregone.
No.
In March, I do expect him to beat Simon Vallili, but that's going to be great on the Grove Eubank undercard. And I'm hoping that Wadi gets a good shot at something big, because he's done enough Southern areas, so hopefully we can get Wadi a better fight.
Even if it were the swan song to his career, and if he went out on a big fight, that'd be brilliant to see for him. Or so if he wins a big fight and then he can carry on and rebuild.
And you've got other fighters that have had a setback or two, and we need to work out why there's been a setback, how we're going to resolve it, and how they can move on. Because there's a lot of fighters we're not mentioning who are super talented but haven't yet reached their potential for various reasons, so we've got to work through that as well. It's a whole job, isn't it, of building the fighters there, building the prospects, working out what goes wrong for some fighters. So it's a great sort of thing of trying to do it. And we've got some fantastic young talent in their infancy between 1 and 5 fights at the moment, so the future's great, and we're really looking to just really win some major titles over the next year. And I don't know anybody that's got a better stable in the South of England than us.
And that's what I was saying earlier about being able to follow through fighters' development through their career, which is the reason why people should go down Saturday. And some of these lads that you'll see starting their career Saturday, because you've got quite a few debutants, haven't you? That, you know, get on board with them at that beginning point and then see how they progress, and the fighting styles, and you'll see different things. It's a great reason to be there on Saturday to start seeing those journeys develop.
Exactly.
So what was the time on Saturday that the doors open for?
Doors open at probably 3:30 and the first bout is 4:15.
Okay. Excellent. So the final thing we're going to touch on was the open invitation for people to come down for your Christmas drinks.
21st of December in North London near Highbury and Islington Station. We are having our annual Christmas get together. It's all the team, it's our boxers, and it's also for the people that come and watch the boxers or come and
sit and watch us. Come and meet the boxers, come and chat to everyone, and we have an open house. It's normally, we'll put more details out, but it be from 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 12 o'clock till 11 o'clock at night, and come down and meet everybody and have a chat. It's a really good get together, and we do it every year. I think we had about 60 people there last year. It was brilliant, and it's in North London, so if you're interested, drop us an email, send us a text, you can get the email off the website and we'll give you all the information. Excellent. Do come down as well. I go down each year and it's always good fun, and you see them let their guard down,
get some
so
stories,
to speak.
Don't you?
Excellent. So that's about it from this week. We'll be back next week where we're going to be talking the plans for 2018, as well as recapping on Saturday night.
But Thursday, December the 21st, I didn't mention the date.
Oh, okay, yeah, that'll help. Yeah. And what's the pub?
We won't put that out because we want to.
We'll keep it exclusive.
Yeah, we'll keep it.
It's like clickbait. Yeah. So next week we'll be back discussing plans for 2018, recapping on Saturday night.
Yeah.
So send in your questions again, and thank you very much for watching.